So December started with you trying to walk off the end of the world. What was that about?
Not quite. I did participate in the End of the World half marathon. So let's talk about that.
Hello, I'm Chad,
And I'm Grace.
and this is our dog Queen.
And together we are
Two gringos and a dingo. Why would they call it end of the world? Belize is not the end of the world.
It's called the End of the World Marathon because it got its start in December of 2012. And that was the same month and year as the end of the Mayan calendar. The Mayan calendar supposedly was to end on December 21st of 2012. And so a lot of people said that would be the end of the world. Although the world did not end in 2012, they decided to keep the name in honor of the Mayan tradition.
So why did you want to participate in the marathon?
Well, you know, back in the day, I was a runner. I did track and field in high school, and I was always very active. And you and I used to always go snow skiing and fairly active and that sort of thing. And I had a foot surgery several years ago, and that caused me not to be as active as I liked. And so coming up on my 65th birthday pretty soon, and I thought, what can I do to challenge myself, to keep myself active and involved and feel like I'm not about to turn the corner toward, you know, the no-go years. And I thought, well, half marathon. Yeah. I might not be able to run the half marathon because of my foot, but I thought I could walk the half marathon. So I decided to do that in order to have that accomplished before I turned 65 and to prove to myself that I could still remain active even though I had this major foot surgery. Yeah.
Okay, now you didn't just jump into this though and just from scratch do a half marathon.
No, I trained for it. So I decided to do this probably 5 or 6 months before the race was to happen. So I gave myself that amount of time to train. And I reached out to my great friend, Joan Walker-Prop, love you Joan, who gave me some tips on how to train because she's done many marathons and she's a coach to many people, and so she was a good source for me to go through. So I trained. I started walking 1 or 2 miles, then 3 or 4 miles, 7, 8. So I just kept increasing the mileage and did that over about a 5-month period.
Now, they didn't set up this marathon just to keep you from the no-go years, so why do they have this thing?
So the marathon was started as an educational fundraising organization. So they wanted to raise funds for scholarships. In Belize, if children that want to go on beyond the 8th grade, it is a tuition-based education system. So you have to pay tuition. A lot of Belizeans cannot afford to go beyond the 8th grade. And so one of the big focuses of the marathon, the reason they started it, was to raise money for scholarships for high school students. It was so successful, they have expanded it to college and to vocational career paths as well.
So trade schools, high school, or college?
High school, college. Mm-hmm.
You do see a lot of people on the work sites in Belize that look like they belong in high school.
Yes, right. Many of them do not go to school beyond 8th grade. So the funds raised through the End of the World Marathon, which is supported heavily by the Rotary and many other organizations. I'll put the list at the end. Many different organizations help support this cause. But yeah, if they can't afford to go to school, they go to work.
Now, what was the route?
The route was along the Placencia Peninsula. So for the full marathons started at the village, and they ran up the peninsula. They went north to Caribbean Way. We half marathoners started at Caribbean Way and went south. So we went Caribbean Way down to the village, and so that was a 13.1 mile route that way. And the marathoners went up and back.
Now, I saw some fairly serious runners here.
There were some very good runners. I was amazed at how quickly I saw the marathon runners passing me as I was walking the half marathon. This year, they broke many records. The winners of the marathon broke records, personal records, as well as a record for the marathon. I think the weather was perfect for a race this year. And so they had a lot of firsts, actually. They had the youngest runner in the half marathon was 9 years old, and she ran with her mom. There was another gentleman that did the marathon on crutches. He only has one leg, so he had crutches.
I watched him, and
Yes.
he was pretty remarkable.
He was very good. He was very fast. He outpaced me by a long shot. And then we also had a parent that was pushing their baby in a stroller the whole way.
I saw them too.
Yes. So
Now, my ambition at this marathon was a little more limited than yours. I had the ambition of going to Chill Point and getting some ice cream and watching you go by. I didn't
your
quite
ice
make that because I stopped at the water stations that were entertaining,
Yes.
and caught you as you made your trip.
Well, I appreciate you being what I call a sag wagon, checking on me and meeting me at different water station stops and getting some video and talking to the people involved. So that was a nice support. I appreciated that very much.
Well, you still owe me the ice cream.
I do still owe you the ice cream. So, although I didn't, my goal was to do the half marathon in less than 4 hours, and I did that. I met that goal. So now I know I can do that. So maybe next year I can reduce my time and try to run a little bit more. I did 3 sections of running during the half marathon. Frankenfoot told me about that. So I have to still watch that and see if I can work with my Frankenfoot to see if it will allow me to run a little bit more.
Now, people aren't going to understand why you say Frankenfoot.
Because my surgery several years ago, it looked like Frankenstein's foot. I had 2 very large screws placed in my foot, and a big old long scar, and it was pretty ugly. So I just always called my foot Frankenfoot.
Okay, they took the screws out.
They
It
did.
took
We
a second.
removed the screws, hopeful that it would resolve the nerve pain that I was having, and unfortunately it did not resolve the nerve pain. So I have permanent nerve damage and some structural damage as well. And but I don't want to let it stop me doing the things that I love to do.
What was your highlight or low light of participating?
You know, I'll start with what I disliked most. I disliked starting in the dark. I don't like walking when I can't see things, and it was dark. So I had to catch the bus at 4:15 in the morning, and it was dark. Sunrise here was 6:02, I believe, that morning. So we started out at 5:30. So I had about 30 minutes I had to maneuver in the dark. That was my least favorite thing. I think my most favorite thing was just experiencing the walking or running through the Caribbean beautiful atmosphere. I watched a beautiful sunrise when the sun came up, and just participating with other people and just being one with yourself in the road. I just enjoyed it.
Well, being in the swag wagon, where I went from pit stop to pit stop,
Yes.
I was impressed by the amount of energy the greeters.
Oh, they were wonderful. They were wonderful.
Because they were dancing around and jumping around and hollering and waving their arms. And
they had to do that for what, 5 hours, 5 or 6 hours for the duration. And that really helped. There was, I believe, 22 water stations along the route. And different groups, they were sponsored by different groups of people. And they were very enthusiastic and gave me a lot of encouragement. And even not even official water stops, there were individuals that were along the road just cheering you on. And I like that.
Well, and I saw Susan's husband out there just voluntarily picking up the litter of the.
Oh yes, yes. My walking buddy Susan, she and I trained together, and her husband rode his bike during the marathon and checked on us and checked on other people, and he was picking up trash. Good guy.
I had a kind of a funny experience with it. I saw people stretching their legs
Yes.
and hobbling, just really limping
Oh,
along.
yes.
And I would stop and ask them if they needed help, you know.
Thank you for that.
And, you know, the ones that really looked like they needed help, said, no, you go. You
Well,
know?
because they had medical personnel. So there were 2 ambulances that would go up and down the road, and they would check on you. I had to give them a thumbs up, or I did give them a thumbs up, because they looked at me like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "Oh yeah." But there were a lot of golf carts with medical teams, and so they would go up and down, and there was lots of different medical carts up and down checking on everybody. So I felt like everyone was well taken care of.
So if you've already talked about next year.
Mm-hmm.
If someone wants to participate in the End of the World Marathon, what would they have to do to, besides get here, what do they have to do to participate?
It's very easy to sign up. There is a website, runbelize.org. I'll put that link up there, and they can just fill out an application, and then you pay a small fee. The fee was, I don't remember the exact amount, but it was nominal. And again, all that money is going to go to education, so I don't mind. The night before, there's a pickup where you pick up your shirt, your bib, your running chip, and they do a pasta dinner for those that want to participate in that. But basically, you just go online and sign up with them online, and they did reach their capacity. It's not a large event, I believe, in terms of what a marathon numbers usually are. So they capped it at less than 400 participants, and then they said no more. So just watch the web and look at runbelize.org.
Do they have a way that if you wanted to just contribute to the charities that you could?
I believe so, yes, I believe so. I believe there's a way you can just donate directly.
So we quit our jobs, we sold our house, we moved to Belize, but it's not the end of the world.
No, it's not the end of the world. But I'll see you next time at the End of the World race. Thank you goes to all the sponsors who supported this year's End of the World Marathon and Half Marathon. For more information or to make a donation to support the education of Belize children, go to runbelize.org. Thanks for watching. Maybe I'll see you at the race next year.